Creative vision requires you to stimulate your imagination to work toward your definite major purpose, and to put the results of that imagination to work. Expressed by people unafraid of criticism, creative vision is responsible for the shape of civilization today. It has brought every advancement in thought, science, and mechanics that allows our current standard of living. It inspires you to pioneer and experiment with new ideas in every field. It is always on the lookout for better ways of doing things. Creative vision belongs only to people who have the habit of going the extra mile, for it recognizes no 9-to-5 working hours, and it isn't concerned with monetary rewards. Its aim is doing the impossible. Imagination, like reasoning, takes two forms, synthetic and creative imagination. Each can contribute to the betterment of your own life and the world around you through creative vision. Synthetic imagination combines previously recognized ideas, concepts, plans, or facts in a new way, or puts them to new use. An excellent example of synthetic imagination is Edison's invention of the light bulb. He began with one recognized fact that other people had discovered. A wire could be heated by electricity until it produced light. The problem was that the intense heat quickly burned the wire out. The light never lasted more than a few minutes. Edison failed more than 10,000 times in his attempt to control this heat. When he found the method, it was by applying another common fact which had simply eluded everyone else. He realized that charcoal is produced by setting wood on fire, covering it with soil, and allowing the fire to smolder until the wood is charred. The soil permits only enough air to reach the fire to keep it burning without blazing. When Edison recognized this fact, his imagination immediately associated it with the idea of heating the wire. He placed the wire inside a bottle, pumped out most of the air, and produced the first incandescent light. It burned for 8.5 hours. Edison's creative vision depended on several important principles of the science of personal achievement. He applied the habit of going the extra mile because he labored without immediate pay. He worked with definiteness of purpose and was inspired by applied faith to carry on with his work through an incredible number of failures that would have broken most people. Finally, he applied the mastermind principle by assembling a team of skilled chemists and mechanics to perfect his invention, finding the right kind and thickness of wire, the right quantity of air to leave in the bulb, the best way to construct the bulb, so that his invention took on the most efficient form possible. Synthetic imagination does not depend on having tremendous personal advantages. Edison had spent only 3 months in grade school, had supported himself for many years as a telegrapher, and was fired from almost every job he held. He began to lose his hearing early on, and eventually became almost completely deaf. But he turned his life around through definiteness of purpose, the habit of going the extra mile, and applied faith. Thomas Stemberg was a successful executive in the grocery business. Working with a Connecticut-based chain, he opened a string of high-volume mega supermarkets that offered consumers huge selections at low prices. The stores were very successful, and Stemberg was building a sterling reputation in his business. But he wasn't satisfied. He saw the prosperous grocery megastores and wondered if the megastore concept couldn't be applied to something else. He wanted to start a large business in a big market underserved by modern distribution methods, offering customers a good value. He formed a mastermind alliance with Leo Kahn, the man who had pioneered the grocery megastores, and in 1986 he opened Staples, the first mega business supply store. Stemberg's idea was so smart, so right, that it immediately inspired competitors like Office Depot and Office Max to revolutionize the business supply industry. Despite the competition, Staples surpassed even Stemberg's ambitious expectations. In just 7 years, sales exceeded $1 billion. Thomas Stemberg didn't invent the superstore idea, but he applied it to a market that had been quiet and humdrum for decades. He developed a definite plan for attaining his goal. He formed a mastermind alliance with Kahn, the man who understood the concept best. He put his plan into action with applied faith, and he went the extra mile by offering customers more and better service than they could get anywhere else. Synthetic imagination puts the entire sum of human knowledge at your disposal, but like any other part of the science of success, it requires your dedication to making your vision into reality. Creative imagination has its base in the subconscious. It is the medium through which you recognize new ideas and newly learned facts. All your efforts to impress your definite major purpose on your subconscious work to stimulate your creative imagination. F.W. Woolworth was working as a clerk in a hardware store. He was at that point simply determined to be a good and valuable employee. When his boss complained about piles of out-of-date goods that weren't selling, Woolworth's imagination went to work. "I can sell those items," he told his boss, and with his employer's permission, he set up a table in the store, laid out all of the dud merchandise, and priced everything at 10 cents. The stock sold remarkably fast, and soon the owner was searching for anything he could lay his hands on to put on that table, which became the most profitable spot in the store. Woolworth had the faith to apply his new idea to an entire store. His boss didn't. The Woolworth chain of five and dimes quickly spread across the nation, earning him a fortune. His former boss once commented, "Every word I used in turning that man's offer down has cost me about $1 million I might have earned." Woolworth was so committed to his then modest purpose of being a valuable employee that his imagination was ready to back up his commitment with powerful ideas. He certainly went the extra mile for his boss, but because that man didn't have the vision that Woolworth had, other investors formed Woolworth's mastermind alliance and profited from it. Creative vision goes beyond imagination. Creative vision is more than an interest in material things. It is a commitment to a better future. Synthetic imagination springs from experience and reason. Creative imagination springs from your commitment to your definite purpose. Creative vision depends heavily upon creative imagination, but it is also more than that. Imagination recognizes limitations, handicaps, and opposition. Creative vision rides over these as if they did not exist, for it has as its base an infinite intelligence. One of the purest examples I know of creative vision is illustrated by the story of Dr. Elmer Gates. Gates was an inventor who worked at the same time as Edison, but his methods and background were very different. He was a highly trained scientist, and his patents actually outnumbered Edison's 2-to-1. Gates applied creative vision in a remarkably simple process. He would enter a soundproof room, sit down at a table with pencil and paper, and turn off the lights. He then concentrated his thoughts on a particular problem and waited for the ideas that he needed for its solution. Sometimes ideas flowed to Gates immediately. Sometimes he had to wait for as much as an hour before they came. Occasionally, nothing happened. At other times, he perceived solutions to other problems that he hadn't even been thinking about. Dr. Gates' creative vision transcended imagination because he had developed it into a faculty he could call upon at will. Creative vision produces results, not alibis. Creative vision is needed today. There are countless calls for creative vision in the world today. We need forms of energy that do not pollute or drain our environment. We need schools that capture the attention of our young people and teach them to better themselves. We need cures and vaccines for terrible diseases that threaten the Earth's people. We need people who can show small business how to use and profit from rapidly changing technology. We need plans for controlling the cost of health care and making it affordable for every honest worker without destroying the incentive of the professionals who provide it. There is both challenge and opportunity in these needs, and I raise them only to start you thinking about the scope of the possibilities for creative vision. There is a place in America for every person who can render any type of useful service and is willing to render it with the right mental attitude. If you have creative vision, You will recognize this and profit from it. You will never complain of a lack of opportunity. Great leaders of every generation in this country began their careers in humble occupations. Andrew Carnegie was a bobbin boy in a textile mill. W. Clement Stone was a newsboy. Harry Truman was a haberdasher. Ruth Bader Ginsburg had to become a law secretary when she graduated from law school because judges couldn't imagine hiring a woman clerk. Yet now she sits on the Supreme Court. It makes little difference where you begin. What motive inspires you to give your best? Are you willing to go the extra mile? Are you a clock watcher, eager for the day to end? Or do you look for the opportunity to make yourself indispensable to others? These are the questions you must ask yourself. If you have creative vision, you can answer them. You know where you're going, you know what you desire, and you know that life never lets you get something for nothing without eventually forcing you to pay more for it than it is worth. When you have creative vision, you know that you can succeed only by helping others to succeed, and you know that it isn't necessary for anyone to fail in the process. Creative vision lets you make decisions quickly, and it lets you change those decisions as soon as you realize a mistake has been made. It frees you from fear of others, for it makes you feel at peace with yourself in your knowledge that you are fair and honest. It's a common human trait to envy people who have attained success, looking at them only in the moments of their triumph and forgetting the prices they had to pay. Often we suspect that they owe their success to some sort of pull, luck, or dishonesty. But creative vision makes you keenly aware of the price of personal achievement because you yourself know its labors. You understand the benefits of sharing your blessings, experiences, and opportunities with others. You know that your success actually depends on it. If you feel the need for a creative vision in your life, you can begin to develop it by getting on better terms with your own conscience, inspiring yourself with greater self-reliance, providing yourself with a definite major purpose, and keeping your mind so busy with that purpose that you have no time left for fear and doubt. Nothing will happen in your life that you do not inspire by your own initiative. Creative vision is the power which inspires the development of that personal initiative. Control your attention. By adopting a definite major purpose, you have selected an object on which you have to focus your controlled attention. Forget the old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You have to put all your eggs in one basket and concentrate your attention on protecting that basket and getting it to the market. Controlled attention is the act of coordinating all the faculties of the mind and directing their combined power to a given end. It is both an outgrowth of many of the other principles of success and an important aid to them. The power of controlled attention. Concentration upon a single idea has been the hallmark of success for countless people and organizations. Intel is a manufacturer of computer chips. By concentrating its energy on building better chips, in less than a decade, it has more than quadrupled the speed at which computer processors can deal with information. The rate at which it is able to design and introduce even speedier chips grows faster every year. This happens because Intel concentrates its attention on microprocessors and doesn't worry about other things like software or modems. Donna Karan is a premier designer of women's professional clothing. Her company dresses more female executives than any other. Because Karen doesn't spend her time coming up with a line of designer jeans or swimsuits, she dominates a lucrative market through controlled attention. Henry Long's paint manufacturing company, Keeler & Long, concentrates its attention on producing industrial paints. You probably haven't heard of Keeler & Long because it doesn't bother with the sort of paint you use in your home. Instead, it makes paint that can withstand a nuclear meltdown or last for years on electrical transformers, and it is recognized as the best paint manufacturer of its kind. Even the White House has been repainted with its product. Marcel Proust concentrated his attention on a single massive work, Remembrance of Things Past, a series of novels that cemented his reputation as one of the major novelists of the 20th century. Mother Teresa has concentrated her attention on relieving the suffering of the poor in India. From a single mission, she expanded her efforts to more than 200 sites around the world and won the Nobel Peace Prize. The scope of her plan grew, but she has never wavered in the attention she pays to it. Whatever your enterprise, concentration on your definite major purpose is essential. It projects a clear picture of your definite purpose upon your conscious mind and holds it there until it is taken over by your subconscious and acted upon. Controlled attention and the other principles of success. What I call the law of harmonious attraction means that forces and things which are suited to the needs of one another have a natural tendency to come together. You will find that you benefit from the law of harmonious attraction. You will condition your mind so that it will attract only the things you desire. And since you will be eliminating from your mind all conflicting emotions such as fear, envy, greed, hatred, jealousy, and doubt, you will not be distracted by anything they might attract. Thus, you will be in an even better position to control your attention. Here is how the different principles strengthen and benefit from controlled attention. Definiteness of purpose. Deciding on what you want, creating a plan for getting it, and carrying out that plan obviously will require you to concentrate the major portions of your thoughts and efforts toward the attainment of that end. You need an object upon which to concentrate your attention, and once you have selected that object, it will grow closer, and your view of it will grow clearer, the more you concentrate your attention upon it. Forming a mastermind alliance is one of the first effects of controlled attention, since you must do so with care. In turn, the alliance intensifies your concentration by creating a mass psychology which increases your faith, self-reliance, imagination, creative vision, personal initiative, enthusiasm, and will to win. You will keep moving toward your definite major purpose when you are surrounded by others who lend you aid and encouragement, whereas if you work alone, you will be inclined to slow down, become discouraged, and quit. When you adopt a definite major purpose and surround yourself with a mastermind group, you demonstrate faith in your ability to attain your objective by persistent endeavor. Your controlled attention has given faith space in which to take root and grow. Likewise, it is much easier to concentrate your attention on something you believe will happen than it is to focus on an event which seems unlikely. Thus, the power of your faith is combined with the results of your controlled attention, giving it tremendous power. Positive mental attitude. By the time you have taken the previous basic steps, your mental attitude will already have become predominantly positive. Many of the self-imposed limitations of fear, doubt, and discouragement will have disappeared because you are already seeing evidence of what you can accomplish. You will have no room left in your mind for thoughts of failure. You will be so busy carrying out your definite major purpose that you will have no time for hesitation or procrastination, nor any desire to do either. Going the extra mile. Applying this principle requires continuous action, since it must be a part of everything you do. Your concentrated attention in applying it adds momentum to your efforts and inspires enthusiasm and faith in your mastermind allies, as well as in others you encounter. This in turn increases your positive mental attitude, making it even easier to control your attention. Personal initiative. Applied personal initiative organizes your plans for attaining your definite purpose. Then, with the aid of your mastermind allies, test those plans for soundness. As with going the extra mile, controlled attention to the results of your initiative is crucial, and every positive thing that happens as a result of that initiative strengthens your will and thus your controlled attention. Self-discipline. Self-discipline harnesses and controls all emotions, both positive and negative, allowing you to guard against the dissipation of energy through either expressing your negative emotions or neglecting to use your positive ones. Your emotional power is available for the concentration of your attention. At this point, your mind is beginning to function like a well-constructed machine, with no wasted emotion and no energy-sapping friction. You have acquired the skill in transmuting your emotions into a powerful driving force for attaining your definite major purpose. You have also begun to acquire control over your willpower. Your willpower brings all the departments of your mind under complete control and puts them to work in attaining your definite major purpose. You are now approaching the apex of efficiency in controlled attention. Creative vision. Your imagination will already have been greatly stimulated by the previous steps. Your subconscious mind, impressed with the object of your definite purpose, will swing into action on its own, rendering up ideas, plans, and hunches whose clarity and applicability will surprise you. You will notice new opportunities for attaining your definite major purpose. Friendly forms of cooperation from others will present themselves. Everything you touch will become a tool in your hands to promote your success. Even the laws of averages and luck will operate in your favor. But don't be mistaken. In back of these lucky breaks is a definite cause that you have brought into being: controlled attention. Accurate thinking. Long before you have reached the point of actively cultivating accurate thinking, you will have stopped guessing and started making your plans on the basis of known facts and sound hypotheses. But as your plans begin to take effect, accurate thinking becomes a necessity. Controlled attention hones your thinking, and accurate thinking means that your attention is applied only where it is needed. Learning from defeat. When setbacks occur, you will use your controlled attention to find, examine, and nurture the seed of equivalent benefit that comes with every unhappiness. Defeat will be nothing but a signal for greater and more determined effort. It will be fuel to feed the fires of your willpower. You will also learn to delve into your memory to examine defeats that occurred before you selected your definite major purpose. Controlled attention makes every moment of your life valuable to you. Enthusiasm takes the drudgery out of your work and makes it a labor of love. Your enthusiasm for something automatically leads to your concentrating your attention on it, and it impresses your dominating thoughts on your subconscious. Controlled attention directs your enthusiasm to definite ends, and the nearer you come to those ends, the more your enthusiasm grows. Attractive personality. By developing an attractive personality, you remove much of the opposition you may face from other people and replace it with the cooperation of allies in addition to your mastermind group. Controlled attention helps you improve those elements of your personality that require discipline and gives you the resolve to remove bad habits. In return, your attractive personality provides more opportunity for the use of your controlled attention through increased influence and opportunity. Controlled attention and autosuggestion. Autosuggestion occurs both consciously and unconsciously. Every thought you have, every word you speak, are recorded in your memory, whether those thoughts and words are positive or negative. The objects on which you deliberately concentrate your attention become the dominating influences in your environment. If your thoughts are fixed on poverty or the physical signs of poverty, these influences are transferred to your subconscious by autosuggestion. If you continue to concentrate on poverty, you will condition your mind to accept poverty as an unavoidable circumstance, and you will eventually become poverty conscious. This is how millions of people condemn themselves to lives of poverty. The principle of autosuggestion works in precisely the same manner when your dominating thoughts are fixed through controlled attention upon success and security. This habit leads to the development of a success consciousness. When you voluntarily fix your attention upon a definite major purpose of a positive nature and force your mind through daily habits of thought to dwell on that subject, you condition your subconscious mind to act on that purpose. Controlled attention, when it is focused on the object of your definite major purpose, is the medium by which you positively apply the principle of autosuggestion. There is no other way to do this. The difference between controlled and uncontrolled attention is great. You can feed your mind on thoughts which will produce what you desire, or you can neglect your mind, allowing it to feed on thoughts that will produce results you don't desire. Your mind is never inactive, even in sleep. It constantly reacts to the influences which reach it. The object of controlled attention is to keep your mind busy through thoughts which will be helpful in attaining the object of your desires. If you neglect controlling your attention, your mind will become fixed on negative influences. Controlled attention at work. Chemistry teaches us that individual elements can combine to form new substances that are very different from the components that constitute them. Water is a simple example. Both oxygen and hydrogen are gases, but when two oxygen atoms combine with one hydrogen atom, they form a liquid, and a highly useful one at that. Sodium and chlorine are volatile and dangerous in their pure states, but when one atom of each forms a pair, they become ordinary table salt. The same is true of thought. Thoughts of one nature can combine with those of another sort, and controlled attention is the means by which you decide the process. If your child is threatened by an oncoming car, fear for his or her safety and love for him or her will combine into thoughts of action, leading you to pull the child out of the way. Both the initial thoughts are strong, but it is the combination of the two that is strongest and most effective at preventing harm. Observation and experience have taught me that the following principles of success, when combined in your mind, can produce power bordering on the miraculous. 1. Definiteness of purpose. 2. Self-discipline through emotional control. 3. Autosuggestion applied to attaining your purpose. 4. Willpower, actively engaged and directed toward your purpose. 5. Controlled attention. 6. Personal initiative. 7. Creating vision. 8. Applied faith. Here's an example of these combined principles at work. Suppose you are faced by a common problem. You need a sum of money for a specific purpose, and you need it by a certain date. There are two ways to deal with this. You can worry about it but do nothing to raise the money, or you can go after it in earnest by combining the above principles. If you know how much money you need and make up your mind to get it on time, you have definiteness of purpose. When you put your mind to work to devise and carry out a plan for getting the money, and you exclude all other thoughts, you are exhibiting controlled attention, applied through personal initiative. Your mind is cleared of all fear and doubt. That is self-discipline working through willpower, expressed in applied faith, and acted upon through autosuggestion. This combination of forces will stimulate the imagination and cause it to create the means through which the money can be procured. Once this happens, of course, it is still up to you to act on that plan to the best of your ability. The two constants in any combination must be controlled attention and definiteness of purpose. Thomas Edison once wrote, "The most important factors of invention can be described in a few words. They consist first of definite knowledge as to what one wishes to achieve, definiteness of purpose, creative vision. One must fix his mind on that purpose with persistence and begin searching for that which he seeks, making use of all other accumulated knowledge on the subject. He must keep on searching no matter how many times he may meet with disappointment, willpower. He must refuse to be influenced by the fact that someone else may have tried the same idea without success, self-discipline, applied faith. He must keep himself sold on the idea that the solution of his problem exists somewhere and that he will find it, autosuggestion. When a man makes up his mind to solve any problem, he may at first meet opposition, but if he holds on and keeps on searching, he will be sure to find some sort of solution. The trouble with most people is that they quit before they start. In all my experiences, I do not recall having ever found the solution to any problem connected with my work on my first attempt. And one of the most surprising things is the fact that when I have discovered the thing for which I am searching, I generally find that it has been within my reach all the time, but nothing except persistence and a will to win would have revealed it. Such is the power of controlled attention. It harnesses many of the other principles, heightens their power, and in turn is increased itself. Are you ready to concentrate your attention on the task at hand?